Welcome back to Royals Corner, your trusted source for the latest news, insights, and untold stories from behind palace walls. I'm so glad you're here today because what we're about to discuss has sent shockwaves through the royal family. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on the stories that matter most in the world of royalty. Now, imagine this: two brothers, bound by blood and tragedy, standing on opposite sides of an invisible line. One brother believes in sacred silence, protecting their mother's memory like a treasure locked away. The other, well, he's turned that memory into headlines, interviews, and yes, profit. Today, we're diving deep into the explosive tension between Prince William and Prince Harry, and why William is reportedly seething with anger over what he sees as the commercialization of Princess Diana's legacy. Stay with me, because what's happening behind closed doors is far more dramatic than you might think. Let's be honest, the rift between William and Harry didn't happen overnight. But recent reports suggest that William has reached a breaking point, and it all centers around one person they both loved unconditionally, their mother, Diana. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Harry has been vocal. Extraordinarily vocal, about his life, his struggles, and his childhood trauma. From the Oprah interview that stunned the world to his memoir that topped bestseller lists, Harry has pulled back the curtain on royal life. And woven through every revelation, every interview, every Netflix episode, is the story of Diana. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. While Harry frames these revelations as his truth, as healing, as breaking cycles, William reportedly sees something entirely different. Sources close to the Prince of Wales suggest he views his brother's continued public discussions about their mother as exploitative, as turning their private grief into a commercial venture. Think about it. Every time Harry sits down for an interview, the network's promoted with Diana's image. Every time a new chapter of his story is released, there's a price tag attached. Book sales, streaming deals, speaking engagements, and at the center of it all, the memory of a woman who died fleeing from cameras. Now, you might be thinking, isn't Harry just sharing his experience? Doesn't he have a right to tell his story? And you're absolutely correct to ask that question. This is where the situation becomes genuinely complex. Both brothers loved Diana. Both brothers were traumatized by her death. But they've chosen radically different paths to honor her memory. William has remained largely silent about his mother in public. Yes, he's done carefully selected interviews on milestone anniversaries. Yes, he's continued her charitable work. But he's kept the intimate details, the painful memories, the private moments, private. For William, this silence isn't suppression, it's protection. It's dignity. Harry, on the other hand, believes that speaking out is healing. He's argued that sharing his mental health struggles, including how his mother's death affected him, can help others dealing with trauma. There's merit to that perspective. Mental health advocacy is important, and personal stories can be powerful tools for change. But here's the tension: when does advocacy become exploitation? When does truth-telling become oversharing someone else's story, someone who can no longer consent to that story being told? Let's address the elephant in the room, the money. Because whether we're comfortable with it or not, money is part of this equation. Harry's memoir reportedly earned him an advance in the tens of millions. The Netflix documentary series, another multi-million-dollar deal, interviews, speaking engagements, future projects, all of this has transformed Harry and Meghan into a brand, and Diana's story is intrinsically linked to that brand. William reportedly finds this deeply troubling. In his view, their mother didn't choose to be a public figure in the way Harry is making her one now. She didn't consent to having her parenting analyzed, her marriage dissected, her mental health struggles broadcast to millions. And she certainly isn't here to benefit from any of the financial rewards these revelations generate. There's also a generational and institutional component to William's anger. As the future king, he understands the monarchy's survival depends on mystique, dignity, and a certain level of privacy. Every revelation Harry makes doesn't just affect him, it affects the institution William will one day lead. It sets precedents. It breaks unwritten codes that have existed for centuries. So where does this leave the brothers? Multiple sources suggest they're barely speaking. The last few public events where they've appeared together have been marked by cold distance. No eye contact, no conversation, just two men who share a mother, a childhood, and a profound loss, but apparently, very little else anymore. Can this relationship be salvaged? That's the question everyone's asking. Some royal experts believe that only a major event, A family crisis, a health scare, or perhaps the passing of King Charles, could bring them back together. Others think the divide has grown too deep, the wounds too fresh, the perspectives too different. What's particularly heartbreaking is that Diana would have wanted nothing more than for her sons to remain close. One of her greatest fears was that the pressures of royal life would drive them apart. In a tragic irony, it's the very discussion of her life and legacy that seems to have created the final wedge between them. Here's what I want you to take away from this: there are no simple villains in this story. Harry isn't wrong for wanting to heal and share his truth. William isn't wrong for wanting to protect his mother's memory and the institution she married into. They're two men dealing with extraordinary circumstances in the ways that make sense to them. But the question remains, at what point does sharing a story stop being about healing and start being about profit? And who gets to decide when that line has been crossed? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Team William or Team Harry? Or do you think they're both right in their own ways? Let's have a respectful conversation about this, because it's these nuanced discussions that make our community at Royals Corner so special. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who loves royal news as much as you do. Until next time, this is Royals Corner, reminding you that behind every crown is a story worth telling.